Episode 180 of the Outdoor Biz podcast with Seungah John and John Salzinger from MPOWERD, makers of the fabulous Luci Light. I believe achieving success in the outdoor biz is dependent upon embracing the outdoor lifestyle and learning from outdoor leaders that came before you. If you agree, then listen up for tips, advice, and hacks about growing or starting your career in the outdoor biz. My name is Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. If you use Audible, then you know. If you're not, you're missing out. It's like having a library in your phone, and I use it a lot. Audible helps the miles fly by on the road or in the air as I'm enjoying great books I discover or are recommended to me by friends. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/theoutdoorbizpodcast. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Start your 30-day free trial with Audible today. audibletrial.com/theoutdoorbizpodcast. On this episode, Seungah and John tell us about working together, how they help provide lighting after natural disasters around the world, unique partnership they have, and a whole lot more. But first, if you want to grow your outdoor adventure business with a podcast, I've created a proven 10-step guide that will show you how to increase sales, educate customers, boost authority, and publish a podcast. From choosing your podcast style and content ideas to publishing your episodes, it has everything you need to know about growing your business with a podcast. Head over to outdoorbizpodcastacademy.com/grow and download this free resource today. That's outdoorbizpodcastacademy.com/grow. Hey, Seungah John, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Hello, Rick.
Hey, good to see you again, John, or hear you again, I guess. Not see you. I didn't see you at OR. Seungah, I ran into you in the aisles. You guys were busy at OR.
Oh, it was a great show.
Yeah, good. I walked by and there was people all over, and I think I interrupted you for a minute just to say hi and then kept on going.
I was hiding from you, Rick.
I think you were busy selling something or working with somebody.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. How many shows do you guys do a year? Quite a few?
It varies. We've done everything from showstoppers and CES to gift shows like New York Now. We've done outdoor winter, summer.
Right.
We've done ISPO. We've done outdoor in Europe.
Wow.
So we've also done a ton of regional shows as well.
Mm-hmm. And you have independent reps, sales reps, right? Or at least for the outdoor space?
We have just a few left on some select accounts, but we've actually brought sales in-house as we continue to grow as a company.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's a smart idea sometimes. I've been through that on both sides of that, yeah. So, Seungah, was MPOWERD your first exposure to the outdoor industry? Had you ever been to a show or been anything outdoors?
It was my first exposure. My previous background was in the fragrance and cosmetics industry.
Mm-hmm.
So Outdoor Retailer was my first show several years ago. I've been the CEO at MPOWERD for 3 years now. And I remember the first show I attended, we just had one small table, and we were in some back section of OR, but it was still so much fun because everyone who came by was really engaged with what we're doing. And, now we're thrilled to be in a much bigger space. We're always behind Yeti, which is a nice place to be.
Oh, yeah, that's a good spot.
And the outdoor industry has just been so welcoming.
Cool.
It's been really great.
What's the biggest difference between that show and, say, one of the personal care or fragrance shows that you were at? Is it the volume of people? Obviously, the people are different, that's for sure.
Well, one interesting difference is a lot of the beauty shows are more geared towards order writing, which is nice, of course, from the revenue perspective. But what I find about OR is that it's all about partnerships. Mm-hmm. And touching base with each other and seeing what you're doing. And from that point of view, I prefer it. It's less competitive. It's not like we walk around to each other's booths, like taking information and trying to figure out surreptitiously what the other person is doing. It's so open and welcome. People, even if it's a competitor of yours, we've walked by booths and, had friendly conversations. And I think that's the main difference that I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty welcoming and opening show. Yeah, it's super fun. And how did you decide to study philosophy and environmental studies? That's an interesting combination.
It is. The philosophy I wanted to study just because of a profound interest in the essential questions in life. But I was very, very lucky too because when I studied at the University of Chicago, that was their first year that they put together an environmental studies program. And it was led by a professor by the name of Theodore Steck. And he was so inspirational, and I was so proud to be part of the inaugural class. I actually then went on from there to study environment and development at Cambridge as a result of everything that I learned at the University of Chicago. And it's a field that's always been, deep interest for me, and particularly because, even back when I was in school, climate change and environmental degradation were big topics that people were starting to discuss. And I really wanted to immerse myself in that area to figure out, what could be done. But while I was at Cambridge, I had the opportunity to continue into their PhD program, but I knew that I didn't want to go into policy without having a strong concept of how I could actually affect change. So I made a big detour into the world of business.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, I spent most of my formative career in fragrance and cosmetics. That was just where I happened to land. I worked at Procter & Gamble, learned all about consumer products, etc. But it was really when Empowered found me 3 years ago that I was able to blend, everything I had by then learned about business with my original interest and passion and the environment and, social development. And that's why this company is absolutely perfect in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. How did you get connected with Empowered?
Through an investor of Empowered who was tapped to look for the next CEO, and he happened to be a clean tech headhunter.
Oh, cool.
So I had 17 rounds of interviews, but it wasn't until my last round with John, actually, that I decided that this was, the ideal place for me.
Well, I'll bet your experience with someone like Procter & Gamble has been huge for you guys getting started and the whole packaging side and operations. That's got to be very important, very valuable.
Exactly. I think it has been helpful in helping us to broaden our markets, again, really looking at the product roadmap and mapping that together with our various retail channels. But it's been a real partnership working with John, our founder, and helping all of that really evolve.
Right.
So, I'm proud that both of us are patent holders on our newest products, and we really bounce ideas off of each other in a really strong way. I bring some of that process orientation from a much larger entity like P&G, but he brings the authenticity and the vision of who we are and where we should go. And I think together we've built a pretty cool little company.
Yeah, you guys are making great products. I love it. And I also see that you're a kickboxer. Have you and John ever got in the ring together?
John, thoughts on that?
So I'm still here. So no.
You guys haven't done that, huh?
No. I think I'd either be crushed in the ring or fired. So no, probably not a good idea. Lose for me.
That's funny. So, Seungah, you've been at Empowered for over 3 years. What do you guys, and John saying, what do you guys find the most inspiring out of the work you do? I mean, you do such great work all around the world.
John, do you want to go first?
For me, it's pretty simple. Being able to spend the precious time you have in your life doing something that helps people, that helps our planet, helps the environment, animals, and the human condition all in one, while being able to pay rent. So, that's, I don't know, the quadrifecta or whatever it would be.
Yeah, right. That's good.
It's relatively it's motivational. It's also um, it gives you kind of a sense of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of purpose. Um, so to me, it's really meaning. It's very meaningful to work here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of a gratefulness to be able to be in a position where you can affect change
Yeah.
on a relatively large scale. So that for me is it's all of the above. It's averting carbon emissions, and it's helping people that aren't just as fortunate as I was where I was born, just
Mm.
out of the
Right.
flip of a coin, luck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seungah?
So I, of course, agree with everything that John said, with the possible exception that with that flip of a coin, I was born on the other side. So I grew up without access to electricity. We didn't have running water in our home,
Mm.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very powerful for me personally to be at a company like this and to be in an industry like the outdoor industry because I think that there's a strong commitment not only to the environment but also to people as humans and what we can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really powerful that we can do this, within this umbrella of business. So, sometimes in the world there are political challenges, for instance, and that was something that was also, very inspirational at the last Noir show. We were all walking around talking about, upcoming tariffs, and I've never been in an industry that just as a whole was so supportive of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Retailers, other brands, and we were all openly discussing this issue that was going to affect us all. And, we had our retail partners saying to us, we support what you're doing. You're making clean technology products that are impacting lives. So, absolutely, we're going to work on this together.
Right.
And, those are the moments, too, where you just understand that you are part of this larger entity of businesses, doing well by doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And, that coupled with like real world stories that we hear all the time through letters and videos and emails from people whose lives we've affected. And again, right now, just because of the mindset that I'm in, when we're able to circumvent, local politics and, economic conditions, et cetera, and be able to actually deliver the changes that are needed that affect human lives, I think that is just such a powerful message.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. That's got to be very satisfying and motivating, all of the above. Yeah. And you guys do a lot of partnership too. I was talking to Sean Hostetter yesterday of Katadyn. He said you guys were working on a couple of things together. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
We're working with Katadyn. We've even worked with their competition. We've worked with Sawyer.
Oh, yeah.
We've worked with Osprey, and we're going to work with North Face.
Very
Right.
cool.
So we're an equal opportunity partner. We look to create community and like-minded brands, especially in the outdoor space. But we're going to be doing a partnership with See No Evil Foods coming up.
Awesome.
So a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, we've worked with Hello Kitty, we worked with Citizen Watch, we worked with Cliff Bar.
Wow.
It's kind of about branching out and ensuring that more and more people understand not just our mission, but the challenges
Mm-hmm.
that others face. I think that's a responsible way to act at a time when potentially responsible public parties aren't necessarily doing their job.
Right.
Private
Right.
sector can step in and fill that void,
Yeah, that's huge.
and their consumers/citizens can benefit.
Yeah. What do you find are some of the challenges on the partnerships, or maybe around the globe? Sometimes I'm sure everybody's welcoming the products that you bring to the table. They benefit life in so many ways.
I mean, one of the things I would say is just occasionally you'll run up against a company, they're so big
Mm.
and their time frames and sort of moving their battleship.
Oh, right.
It just is a different sort of time frame in us. But I would say conversely, sometimes the larger the company, the harder it is for them to do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to associate with a B Corp and benefit corporation
Right.
is a benefit to them, even though we're so small. So I would say, mainly fit. If their foundation or their CSR initiative has to do with education, well, then we fit right in, right? Because
Yeah,
we're
right.
linked. But if they're something else that doesn't necessarily fit in, it's something near and dear to their corporate charter, then that's okay. And maybe we just do like a social post together or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get a ton of no's. We get sometimes a when and sometimes how, but we don't generally get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
So we're lucky.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. And I was going to ask you on the partnership side, what are some of the things you're most proud of on the partnership side? What are some of the things you feel you've done that have had the most impact?
So one of the programs that we've been able to successfully replicate a number of times is a partnership actually with a larger energy corporation, particularly those based in providing clean energy to their consumers. So the program typically works that if a consumer signs up for one of these energy plans, then the energy company will send them Luci Light from MPOWERD for them to keep and enjoy. And then they'll also let that customer know that a light has been donated on that customer's behalf through one of our NGO partners to be deployed to one of our, emerging market communities.
Oh, great.
And these corporations have found that the retention rates might go up as much as 25%. And so it's a win-win for everyone. We're, sending out this message that clean energy is real, it's fun, it's useful, and, these partnerships kind of have been very good for the company too in terms of getting our message out to a wider audience.
Right, I'll bet. Right. And have you exposed any of these other larger companies or maybe companies that aren't connected to the outdoor industry to the outdoor world? Has that come about?
Absolutely. So, in an example like that too, then we look at some adjacencies. So I'll give you another example, but, everyone's familiar with Amazon.
Yep.
MPOWERD partnered with Amazon a couple of years ago. We were their guinea pig in a new program that they were implementing for disaster relief. And basically they were able to use, their logistics power, their warehousing power to get very needed products into areas that had been affected by natural disasters. So Luci Lights were some of the first products that typically are helpful on the ground, but water purification products are as well. So being a guinea pig of Amazon, we've talked to them about other brands like Katadyn, and we actually, for the first time now, have a bundle of a Luci Light and a Katadyn product, for example, on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
And then should there be a disaster, Amazon is willing to partner with us to support the distribution of these mutual products into disaster areas.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's very cool. And have you got, what's it like to work there at the offices? How many staff do you have there?
We're actually much smaller than I think we appear. So we have 21 people. We're located here in Brooklyn. Fantastic office, open plan. Everyone's really supportive of each other. But make no mistake, as a startup, you wear many hats and you work really hard.
I'll bet. Yeah, a lot of long hours. Yep, I'll bet. And you guys travel around, you must travel around the world quite a bit, visiting various partners and opportunities to help.
We do travel. We meet retailers. We go to conferences. We've gone to. So John and I both went to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. There's a lot of being on the road. That's part of this job. But it's important to have some face time with your partners and to be able to see what's happening. So. It's not glamorous, though. We go to some
I've been there.
places, it's a plane to a car to a train to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but it's rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll bet. And do you have any satellite offices or satellite locations?
We do not.
No. Yeah.
We're
Okay.
all here in Brooklyn.
That's cool. That's good. And are you gearing up for this next hurricane that's coming our way? Coming, I guess, Florida's way?
We certainly are. John, you want to talk about it a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So, we're in contact with everyone from the Red Cross to many of our corporate funders.
Mm-hmm.
We work with aid organizations, religious or non, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the biggest, first responders in the world. And at this point, Dorian's about, a couple of days away, maybe.
Right.
It should hit on, unfortunately, right on Labor Day weekend, which is not good for the businesses in those areas as well. So it's sort of a double whammy.
Right.
I don't think they know exactly where in Florida it'll hit, but it looks like it will come in as 2 or 3, Category 2 or Category 3. That's a big hurricane.
It's huge, yeah.
And, I think we're ready. Our partners are ready. We have both funders and implementers at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're staying close to them and NOAA and monitoring the storm's path. And, everyone in our office as well is sort of ready to move into action.
All hands on deck, yeah. And are you
if
staging?
the storm hits.
Right. Are you staging product, or that's all just already ready to go? You can pull it out of wherever it is and send it to where it needs to go?
So either we have product that's been built up and fortified in retailers, or we have product at the ready in warehouses dedicated for aid organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And so that part of it's not easy for us. It is easy for us. We always have inventory.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Gotcha. Yeah. And Seungah, in addition to kickboxing, what other outdoor activities do you participate in?
Well, I try to run a marathon in a different country every year.
Oh, very cool.
My next one is in Toronto, so same time zone.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
In October.
Yeah. October. Wow.
Yes. But my newest training methods, I typically run, in parks, just do multiple loops.
Mm-hmm.
But this summer, I started to run all the bridges in New York.
Oh, wow.
Back and forth from Brooklyn to Queens to Manhattan and back. And it's been really fun, actually, to see the city from a runner's perspective, I'll call it.
Yeah. Do you run late at night, or when do you run? I was there after 9/11. I met a buddy of mine. We got on bicycles, and we left his house about midnight. No traffic, no cars, and just had the whole city to ourselves. It was just a different perspective. It was amazing.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So I run first thing in the morning, so I'm up with the sanitation workers and the construction crews. But otherwise, the streets are empty.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. And John, how about you? What outdoor activities are you into these days?
Well, since it's summer in New York, I go out to Long Island and surf when there's waves, when there's a swell. Otherwise, I'll body surf.
Mm-hmm.
So that's primarily. I play outdoor basketball. I'm not sure if that's an outdoor activity, but I've played on cement my whole life to the point where my knees are destroyed, but I'll continue to do that, of course, because it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, I've been there. Yep, my knees are destroyed too, but I'm not going to let it stop me.
Past the warranty, right? Yep.
That's right. It looks like you have a lot of fun with Dev Boogie on your social posts. I get a kick out of those. He's a great kid.
It.
He's a very photogenic kid too.
Thank you. That's my outdoor activity right there, my 2-year-old son. He
He
gets me outside
there
consistently. Yeah.
Seungah, do you have kids?
I have 2, 7 and 11.
No, that'll keep you busy.
Exactly. And they love outdoor activities as well.
Oh, good.
Skiing is probably their favorite.
Skiing?
Skiing.
Yeah, good. Well, you guys are pretty close to
Yep.
some good skiing. And
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And do you have any suggestions for folks wanting to get into the outdoor industry, or if they're already in, maybe how to grow their career?
That's
So
a
from
great
my
question.
perspective, go ahead, Seungah.
Yeah, go first.
From my perspective, it's similar to almost any other industry. We just have to look for challenges that people face and come up with honest solutions. the cool thing about the outdoor industry is that people are always looking for the next newest, coolest, lightest, solution that is also potentially environmentally correct, which is nice. So I do think there's a lot out there that still can be improved upon.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I think it's just sort of, go camping, go rafting, go skiing, etc., and see what bumps you come across, and see if you can figure out a way for people to avoid those.
Yeah, that's good advice.
So what I love about the outdoor industry is, in contrast to the beauty industry that I was in, there it was all about what can we make so that we can convince people they need our product to help them look or feel better, right?
Right.
In the outdoor industry, it's all about what do you need to actually help you X, Y, and Z, whatever that next adventure or challenge is that you're seeking. And I think that that's brilliant. It's just so much more of an honest place to start. So I agree with John, working backwards to hear, what do people want? What do they need? Where are things going? And then creating that product to fill that white space is great.
Right. No, I agree. That's the fun part of it, too. We get to create fun stuff, to help people on the solution side of the world.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any daily routines you use to keep your sanity? Obviously, your exercise is probably your daily routine, right?
So that is mine.
Yeah.
5 to 6 days a week without fail.
That's good.
Yep. For me, sleep, I think, is my daily routine. I'll exercise for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever form, whether it's a workout or basketball, etc. Any of that stuff is really helpful.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Keeping your mind right.
Yeah.
Being activated. Yep.
How about favorite books? Do you guys have any favorite books or books you give as gifts?
Most recent favorite book that I liked was *Sapiens*. I thought that was really interesting. I've read a lot of stuff since that, or conspiracy theories.
I haven't read that yet. It's on the list, though. Seungah, have a good book lately?
So I am such a literature junkie, but I like true classics. The one that I give the most as a gift is, anything by Milan Kundera, who's a Czech writer. And I unfortunately like a lot of the sort of existential stuff, Camus, Sartre. So maybe not as relevant and, current, but tried and true.
Gotcha.
I would add as a gift, Striking Thoughts is a great book as a gift. It's just a book of aphorisms, and it's written by Bruce Lee.
Oh, okay, cool.
Flip to any page, and it applies to your day. It makes you feel a little better.
Cool.
So that's an interesting one.
Striking Thoughts. I'll link to those in the show notes. That's great. As we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners or ask of our listeners?
From my perspective, vote in 2020.
Excellent. Yep. Seungah?
Oh, how could I surpass that? That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And if people want to follow up with either of you regarding questions or anything, what's the best way? LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. I think we're both pretty proficient on LinkedIn.
You kind of have to be these days, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
But please reach out to either of us.
Yeah, good. I'll link to that in the show notes too, yeah. Well, it's been great catching up with you guys. I hopefully will see you at a trade show soon, or maybe in New York. If I find myself back there, I'll come and knock on the door. I'd love to see your facility, offices. I always like to see offices.
Oh, please do. You're welcome at any time.
And if you find yourself in California, make your way to Bishop. We're just on the other side of Yosemite, so lots of outdoor stuff to do here.
Oh, I just realized my favorite book is going to be yours that's coming out.
Oh, thank you. That's right.
I almost missed that one.
Nicely done.
I almost missed that.
That's good. Thanks for the plug. That's been quite the creating of the book was easy because it was just all the interviews with everybody I get to talk to. But the actually production of a book process. Wow, I had no idea.
I'm sure.
It's pretty fun. But yeah, no, thanks for that plug. I appreciate it. I'll start teasing that here before too long.
Let's go. We'll do it too.
Yeah, right on. Sounds good. I'll keep you in the loop.
Well, it's important because the voting comment was to basically save the planet, and so your book does a whole lot towards that.
Yep,
So,
that's
fantastic.
about it. Vote. Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that. Well, thanks. It's good catching up, and we'll be in touch soon.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Terrific. Thank you. Take care.
If you want more of the Outdoor Biz podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.